How would it feel to have a thriving fitness business and have the freedom to enjoy life at the fullest? Well, that is exactly what the Trainer Revenue Multiplier Show is going to give you. My name is Mathew Park. This is Jaime Filer.
Hey, guys.
And we are here to serve.
Welcome to the Trainer Revenue Multiplier Show. My name is Jaime Filer. I'm the co-host of the TRM show, and I am so excited to be here with you today, along with a man who needs no introduction in the fitness industry, Mr. Alvin Brown. How are you?
Right. I am great, and I'm excited to get on here with you. We need a separate call, but we'll talk about that later. Definitely.
Absolutely. How is the holiday season going for you so far?
It's good. You know, getting back from being off, because I was one of those professions that was off for the pandemic, totally off, couldn't work. So getting back and getting into that rhythm again of business. But you know what? I feel more motivated now because I'm coming back with a whole new, it's a blessing in disguise, but I'm good now. I can move on. I don't need more blessings like that, but it's a blessing in disguise. I got a chance to step back and hit the reset button on so many things that I was doing that I wanted to change. I didn't have time to do, that I said I didn't have time to do. And then, you know, getting into TRM at the same time, the divine timing of everything, I feel like I've graduated and ready to, you know, it's a whole different feel. And then I moved to a building with windows where I didn't have windows before. It was in a pretty, so everything seems like a metaphor for just this vision that I can see farther. And it's yeah. So I'm using it.
So that actually leads perfectly into our topic for today, because if I could summarize what you just said, it was essentially that last year into this year gave you perspective.
Big time. Big time.
So the topic of today's podcast is essentially competition versus collaboration.
I love it. Love that.
So where I would like to start with you, because as you know, the fitness industry is probably one of the most saturated.
Yeah.
Why do you think we are all in competition with one another?
You know, and that's the nature of it. I think everybody has a desire to help people, and people automatically love health. It's an attraction towards health. Well, we have a desire. It's aspirational. Everyone wants to go towards the health. So a lot of people, they will gravitate that way. They'll gravitate towards the health and wellness field.
Yeah.
But, you know, as you know, over time, it's those who are truly passionate about it and those who are truly ready to put the grind on and learn and grow that survives. Because it can be a nice to do, but who really wants to put in the work to grow, to become a leader, to impact many more lives? And that's who usually hangs around. Or else it ends up being when somebody gets a little older, they kind of shift and go to something else and switch out. But those who last the test of time really sees the vision for what they wanted for it. And it becomes a lifestyle, actually. You know, it has to be a lifestyle. It has to be, you should be the product of the product.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
So what you're saying in terms of which cream rises to the top, it would be those trainers that have a passion for actually performing the service.
You got it. Yeah, 100%. And as I said, you know, for me, it's a lifestyle. Health, wellness. It's not, you know, because I've got 4 kids, married and, you know, getting older, and I've never let it go, because some people say, you know, I'm getting older, I'm married, and I don't need to do that anymore. It seems to be something people use as a, you know, to get a maid or to get a partner or to a wedding coming up or a special event. For me, this is a lifestyle. So it has to be that lifestyle.
So in terms of competition, Alvin, you're a trainer, I'm a trainer, but I don't see you as a threat. I don't see you as my competition. So what personality traits or characteristics do you think define people who would see one another as a threat versus those characteristics of people who see each other as just another friend in the industry?
Yeah. You know, I think it's maturity. And I got to say that for me too, because I remember an African proverb that says you can run fast by yourself, but you can run far and long together with others, you know?
Wow,
And
I just got goosebumps. Okay.
right? I
Yep.
know. And because when you start out, you want to run fast. You want to get out the gate. You want to eat everybody for lunch. You want to, but soon that gets tiring. And you start to think about, and plus there's 6 billion people, 7.8. What are we at now? 7 billion. You can't serve everybody, and you shouldn't serve everybody, because not everybody will be your flavor, not everybody will be your style. So when you start to learn that the universe is abundant and there's no limit, you can have your pie, and there is no pie. It's not like you're taking a piece and there's less for others. This is a buffet. You can do anything you want, be anything you want, and you stop competing. Because what I realize is Jaime won't appeal to everyone, but Jaime will have some people asking her, hey, do you know anyone? And if you can't work with me, and if I am collaborating with Jaime, she's like, okay, I know someone. Perfect.
Easy. Yeah. What did it take in your life, or was it just a light bulb moment for you to realize that you couldn't serve everybody, you weren't for everybody, and that the people you referred out to would actually benefit you? You would be able to run long and far, long and wide, instead of just fast. What was your story?
Yeah, that's a maturity piece. That is a maturity piece, because we tend to think there's not enough, first of all. And when you first get out, you just want to pay your bills. You want to have proof of concept that you can even charge. You mean someone will pay me for this? And so once you start getting over that piece of not thinking that there's a small little wedge and I got to fight everybody for it, when you start to become vulnerable enough to be abundant, you start to now, okay, because I know I teach what I do to other people. I teach people how I got successful to openly. If you're up for it, let me show you. I'm willingly giving. But not, somebody said something to me once, he said, if the information is so good and so powerful, why are they giving it away then? Why don't they keep it for themselves? And that made me realize that he's thinking small. He's thinking that there's a scarcity. There's not enough. Meanwhile, there's how many books are produced every year? And we can read whatever we want. Today's the information age. But who's going to apply it? Who's going to execute on that idea? So you don't have to worry.
Cream rising to the top, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I started to learn over time. I started like everybody else, wanting my piece, my ego. Because, this work, as Jaime, as you know, this work at the beginning is the ego. Our ego is in it. If someone cancels with us or does go somewhere, it hurts because our ego is in there. Our signatures on our work. So it hurts a little bit when someone leaves you. But after time, you'll start to learn you're not for everybody, and it's okay. Let them get the help where they need it, and it may not be you. And when the right person shows up, it's not work at all. It's not even work. So, yeah.
So we talked about competition in terms of other people in the industry who aren't necessarily serving the same people, but doing what you're doing, and why it's okay to pass off a client to somebody who could serve them better. Totally cool. Now, what happens when you're building a team? Have you ever felt threatened by people literally on your team?
Yeah, you know what? I'm just thinking about that. And again, that's a level of maturity. Again, I go back to maturity, business maturity, once you're in it. Because once you start, what I realized is that when I started to really get rid of that, because I started there too, they're taking my clients. But once I noticed that, once I started to share, there's a karmic debt that's created where that person wants to share with you. And where they become your evangelists. They're so good to me. These people are so good to me. Then your word starts to grow, and the more you give, the more you start to expand the reach. Because if Jaime's good to me, you know what I'm going to be saying about Jaime? All good things. If she's been really good to me, I have a spiritual debt unless I'm a rotten person and I'm holding greed. But typically, the average, I will give away. The more you give to me, I'm open now. And I owe you so much. And I'm going to do for you. So the more I noticed that I started to teach and learn, the more the respect grew in the industry for me, the more people knew I wasn't in competition. And actually, they send people to me. on top of it. So it's like a universal thing. The more you give, it's unbelievable how the universe works. The more you hoard, because energy can never be destroyed. It can never be created. It has to be circulated. Yeah, you can't, if you try to harness it and keep it in, it'll destroy you.
I love the concept of the karmic debt, but also being able to create more abundance.
Overflow.
And let's also talk about, in terms of competition, we can't do everything ourselves. We cannot be our own video editors and our own virtual assistant and do the manual work while also doing the invoicing. When did you realize that you had to put your ego aside and just ask for help for the other tasks within your business because you couldn't do them all yourself?
Great question. That's a maturity. Again, I'm going back to maturity, because at first you're hoarding everything. But here's what I realized: my zone of brilliance. So people have to think about, what is your zone of brilliance? What brings you alive? See, the issue with us entrepreneurs and artists, I call us artists, right? We can do everything. We kind of like everything. I like to create my own content. Right? You know what? No, you know what? I'll deal with the clients. I'll get them in because no one else can do it like me, and all that thing. But when I realized that an hour is so valuable, and what I do with that hour to leverage, as we were in TRM, we were talking about that this week, is leveraging the hour. We all have 24 hours. And right now, someone in this hour or this half an hour that someone will be listening to this, they've made $500,000. And some have made $7.50. Right? In a half hour. Some have made $500,000. What's the difference? It's knowing how to manipulate that time and leverage the time in your favor to get what you want. Maybe you don't want money. Maybe it's not money. Maybe it's more time with your loved ones.
Sure.
Okay? Maybe money is not what drives you. But if you're out to, let's use money because it's measurable, my hour versus someone else's hour depends on how much value you bring to it. So if your brilliance is marketing, if your brilliance is being in front of people, you're a great connector, do more of that. Let someone else do what you shouldn't be doing. You probably can do it, but you shouldn't be doing it.
But also that difference between $7.50 and $750, you're working on the $7.50 task because of your ego and you're getting in your own way.
Yeah. And Jamie, when you can think about it this way, if you can hire somebody who needs the help and needs the money at the time to circulate that goodness to them, and you're worth $750, but you're at $750, but you're hoarding $750 from someone who could use it, someone who needs it at that time, you're stopping that flow.
Yeah.
So think of it that way. If someone's really struggling with giving away responsibilities, think about then, since we're natural givers, think about that. If I give somebody $20 for an hour and they're sitting at home, they're worried about paying that bill, and I can become so abundant that I can give away $20, $30. To them, it's everything. But to you, it's just creation. So keep that circulating.
So guys, we've got the fact that it's not even something you enjoy doing. It's not necessarily something you're great at doing. It is worth it to somebody else to do. And again, going back to that karmic debt, but in a positive way, by giving, you're creating more room for abundance. So you literally have all of the reasons. You have financial, professional, spiritual reasons to not be doing the stuff you don't like to do.
Mental, emotional. I mean, you go on, right? Relationships. You can build better relationships by playing in your zone of brilliance, flow state.
What an excellent opportunity to also start building your team, right? This morning, I had a bit of an epiphany moment. I was making a quick, I was doing podcasts in advance so that I could stagger them throughout the next couple of Mondays. And I just went on Instagram and I made a story about how much I enjoyed making podcasts and content creation. And I obviously couldn't say it out loud to everyone, but I'm like, wait, I might enjoy content creation more than programming. Wrote it in my journal, really, so to explore later. But like, what if I've been doing this wrong all along? What if I've evolved in my business that I would rather reach the people on Instagram that need the mental health than the programming, right? So at that point, what an opportunity to build my team. I need to find someone who enjoys programming as much as I like content creation. And now all of a sudden there's a team, Jaime 91.
Yeah. And you know what I love about what you just said, and everyone listening to this, really, Jamie jumped over it a little bit because she does it, but she wrote it down. Jamie's a student. Writing it down. She wrote down what she loves and what she doesn't, what she shouldn't be doing, to narrow it down, because we have multiple thoughts. 60, I don't know what the number is. People throw this out. 60,000 thoughts, right? Okay, so we all heard it. 60,000 thoughts. Okay, so that fleeting, if Jamie wasn't a student, that fleeting thought of what I should be doing or not be doing would just go in and out, and she'd do it again tomorrow. But she stopped and went, no, I should be doing this. This is where I love. And she made the change. So I love that. First of all, I love that. And second of all is, what should you be doing? Where should you be putting? I mean, when you get into the state of flow, it's a beautiful place. Creation comes from flow. Creation, time just slips by. You just, the things you create in that state. Athletes know when they're in that state, things go slow. Everybody else goes slow. They see in basketball, they see a net as this huge net. The goal seems huge. They just, everything, this is where we want to be. We're time. We don't want to be watching time. We want time to slip away. So we want to always aim to play in our zone of brilliance.
Yeah.
So that's the goal. I love that.
What is your area of brilliance, Alvin?
Great question. Creativity. I love to create. I've always been an artist. I call myself an artist constantly. So I love to create. I love to see things and go, how can I put a spin on that? I remember being in school, learning all the way through school, university, you name it. And I never took notes. And I hope my teachers, if they took it personal that I don't take notes, that's up to them. But I would record everything because I want to go back and listen after. Because in the class, here's what I'm doing. How does that fit in? How's that going? So I would constantly be looking at what's the big picture? How does it fit in? So I'm a creative person. That's where I'm best. Yeah. Creating techniques, creating different ways of moving, even when it comes to social media, I'm creating I love, for instance, TikTok. Okay. When I got onto TikTok, here's what I loved about it. The creativity on that thing. That's what I don't get caught up in the drama of social media. I look at people's creativity. Yeah. What can someone do with their body? What can someone do with their people? They make people laugh on there. People find unique ways of expressing themselves. That's what made me kind of gravitate to it, because I would just slip past all the drama and go to people's creativity, music. So I love creativity. I've always been the type that I look at things, as the quote goes, I can't remember the rest of it, but the paraphrasing is, I look and ask, why not? Right? Yep. Some people look at it and ask, why? Ask, why not? Let's do it this way. Let's shift it this way. If you always drove down this street, why don't you drive down the other street and see? But we get into such a pattern. The human brain loves consistency. So it loves certainty. So it'll do the certain things and build habits. I like to challenge it. And I did a program recently that asked your why. What is your why? And my why was challenge. I like to challenge myself. I like to challenge my clients to think differently, to do something different, right? Because we get into patterns. The brain loves it. The brain loves to go to sleep. It likes to habituate. Yes. That's how we learn habits. When we first started to drive, we would click this and we do that, and we gotta put this and then click. Eventually, we don't even know how we got home sometimes. We're so lost in thought. It becomes automatic. Yep. So we have to be careful of that. But anyways, I love creativity. The answer to your question is, what is my superpower? It's creativity. Sitting back. And Jaime, when I get online, I start to, this. When I'm on our calls, I wait till the end of everybody finish talking. Yeah. And then I'll throw in because I'm listening and.
How does that fit in?
Connecting pieces together and listen to how you say it. How's Jaime saying that? Because I'm trying to figure out Jaime. Not from her words, but from where she got that creativity from. Where did she come with this or self, where, you know. So anyways, creativity is my big thing. That's where I could sit all day and just think and read and think. It takes me forever to get through a book. Why? Because I'll see an idea in a book and I'm off. I could really,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's why I can't understand when I'm in class, people are ferociously taking notes, their heads down. I'm like, how you even.
But if you're listening, you're not thinking. Right? Yeah. You get it. So 2 weeks ago on our platinum call, 2 Fridays ago, Matt asked a really thought-provoking question, and it made you call yourself out. He said, what are you procrastinating on in your business? And who do you have to ask for help to make it essentially a reality? What was your answer to that?
My answer was taxes, particularly my taxes. Yeah. Right. And
Yes,
every artist entrepreneur will.
Oh, we hate numbers.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But why numbers are too black and white? There's no edges to it. There's no and I like creativity. So for me, but here's the thing I realized through my work. I realized that it's not the taxes, it's how I am looking at it. Okay. I'm small chunking the steps to getting my taxes done. So in my mind, when you say taxes, I gotta go and find the thing. Where's that receipt? I don't even know where I put that receipt. I don't even know where that is. And by the time I'm done, I'm tired even just thinking about it. I never do it. Now the funny thing is, when I ask somebody about working out, some people find working out difficult.
The same thing.
I got to get my shoes. I don't even know where my shoes is. And then I got to find that one purple thing, and I can't. Then I got to get my bag, and then I go to my shoes in my bag. But then I got to go to. By the time you're done, it's like it's too much. I'm not even going to work out today.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I find I do, and I do that with anything and anybody listening. You'll do that with anything you don't like to do. Just think about it. You just when you love to do something, it's 2 steps. So I'll just grab my bag and go. 2 steps.
Yep.
But when you don't like it, so that's what I do when it's not creativity based, and I can't. When there's edges. Just like clients, I can't, knowing the clients I love to work with, I love clients who allow me, first of all, to create and who don't mind me challenge their thinking. Because I don't get into, if you look at my social media, I had one of my clients ask me, Alvin, how come you never say anything controversial? It's like vanilla, you never say. You know what? Here's why I don't say anything, because I don't know it. The more you know, the more you don't know. So I leave issues alone, because I realize that my level of understanding, when I hear the big news and stories, I'm getting the surface level of the conversation, what the news will allow me to have. I don't get the back end story of it. So I leave it alone. I leave all issues alone, because I actually don't know where it came from, how the person feels. I don't know the details to back myself up. So I leave it, and I just create things to make people feel better. That's my goal, is how do I make you change? How do I make you think? How do I make you challenge the way you're thinking? So creativity is my huge superpower. And the second part about asking for help.
Yes.
I have brought on accountants around me because I don't like to do it, bookkeepers. But here's the problem. Now I have to give them the stuff, which takes me getting focused.
That's where the procrastination part comes in. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Alvin, any last words about competition versus collaboration before we call it?
Yeah. I want everyone to remember that quote. If you want to run fast, run by yourself. You can run and get there real quick. But if you want to run long, want to run a marathon, wide, build people around you, support them, because there's really and truly, when you shine your light really bright, you give permission, unconscious permission, to everyone else around you to do the same. And you start to lift everybody up, and everyone comes, all boats rise with your tide. So when it comes to competing, move away from competition to adding value to people. Yeah, and again, maturity. I know I wasn't like that. And with maturity in business, I realized I can't do everything myself. It's tiring, and I want to share. Right. So love it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. As always, I appreciate how much wisdom, experience, anecdotes you bring to the show.
Yeah, you know what?
Invaluable.
Jaime, hanging out with you, your wisdom is far beyond the chronological age you bring to the table, my friend. So
you flatter me.
Yeah, yeah,
well, again, thank you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching the podcast. If you caught us on Facebook Live, if you found value in today's episode, please share it on your Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to tag Jaime91. Alvin, what is your Instagram and TikTok?
Exactly. Alvin.b.brown.
There you go. And at Trainer Revenue Multiplier, we are on all the major podcast platforms, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Alvin, thank you again so much for your valuable time.
Always fun.
And we will catch you next time.
Thank you.